as someone who's been involved with Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies for around 7 years or so, definitely taking it seriously for the last 4, going into my 5th year now, I've done a lot of talking and answering questions about crypto, and people are constantly asking me things like, isn't it just fake money? Can Bitcoin really do XYZ or reach X price? When will fill in the blank coin reach X price? What are you gonna do when it all tanks back down to 0? Did this person really make a lot of money with XYZ coin or an NFT or a bot or etc.? Should I buy this coin? What coin should I be buying? How do I get started? Or everyone's favorite, the questions you're probably asking right now at home. The fun little dance of, how can I make money with this? How much money have you made? But how much money can I make? Not to mention good old, if I buy Bitcoin, am I gonna be a bajillionaire? While I do plan to make a video answering these questions, I think a lot of people get excited and get ahead of themselves. I constantly get bombarded with these types of questions, and it's kind of rare that I have a person just ask, like, hey, what is this crypto stuff and how does it work? Normally I just get mobbed with questions and nobody wants to really listen to the answers because in their minds they've already decided what Bitcoin is and what they want from it. Or they're looking for justification to what they've heard and will keep asking questions until they get the answer that they were trying to get rather than the actual answer. So, just to give a quick example of what I'm talking about, I had a coworker who, I guess we had started talking about our interest in crypto and we were asking each other questions and going back and forth on our opinions. And this friend had shown me 3 separate wallets, and he had like a total of like 20,000 XRP. And mind you, this friend is the entire reason why we do XRP in the dollar a day thing that we do. But yeah, he had shown me his 3 wallets. He may or may not have more of a portfolio than this, but the 3 wallets he showed me had 20,000 XRP in it. And so, with it being worth like 45 cents, 50 cents a pop at the time, it was roughly like $10,000 or so he was sitting on. And over the next like 2-3 weeks, I want to say, he had set up a bot that traded 3 different meme coins and dumped all the profits into more XRP. Starting like that 2nd or 3rd week of running that bot, he had shown me his transaction history from his bot, and he had racked up an additional 40,000 XRP in that like 2.5-3 weeks or so. So now this man is sitting on 60,000 XRP at, again, 40-50 cents a pop. So long story short, I had another coworker come up to me and ask, like, hey, can Bitcoin really do this? Like, it sounds cool and all, but it doesn't make sense to me. Is this guy just talking at his ass, or, can this really happen? And another coworker had stepped in, kind of wanting to hear the answer. I guess the question asked was like, can Bitcoin really do this? And that shows what I'm talking about in itself right there. Like, first off, we weren't even talking about Bitcoin, really, we were talking about XRP. And sure, either one can be put into a trade bot and make money like that, yeah. Will every single one of them pump out like that one did and work exceedingly well?
No.
No, that's not really the guarantee. But back to what I was saying, I was trying to get that out of my mouth fully when I had another coworker come up and was like, I just saw the Money Electric documentary, which I still haven't seen myself at this point. I really would like to, but he's like, I just saw this Money Electric documentary, and if you wanted to make $1 million or whatever, it would take at least like 300 or like 500 blocks to do XYZ. And I was like, what? I Clearly I was the only one standing in the circle with any rational concept of what a Bitcoin even is. And again, I have not seen Money Electric. I don't know what it was specifically he was talking about with Bitcoin's price reaching 1 million and that taking so many blocks to happen, and how much money you could profit if you had, like, sure, whatever. I get he saw the documentary and he has that kind of understanding of it. But once we got to going kind of back and forth, it just made everything more confusing. And, because I was trying to explain, like, we're not even really talking about Bitcoin at all. What we are talking about is a trade bot trading XRP. Like, can Bitcoin do this? Can XRP do this? Sure. They could both be built into a bot, and that bot can be profitable or not profitable, whichever. And no, my friend and original coworker that I'm talking about here was not blowing smoke up everyone's ass. He even showed me the transaction history. I've seen the receipts for it. Like I said, he is the real reason we do XRP and the dollar a day right now. And I'll get into the math on what that's worth here in a second. Or actually, what I'll probably do is I'll do the math on that in a separate video. Sorry, I haven't seen Money Electric. I've been basically working on my own version, guys. So there's that. I'll watch it as soon as I get a chance, though, and let you know what I think. For now, let me get back to the script, though. If you want to understand what crypto is, or how to make money, or what to stay away from, first you should understand why blockchains and subsequently Bitcoin was created. There's a lot to learn and keep up with in this space, so a lot of times it sounds way more complicated than it really is, and that's why I think a lot of people shy away from it. I mean, I know people who still don't even believe that Bitcoin is legal. Some people think it's a get-rich-quick Ponzi scheme or a trick by the rich to get us to give up more of our cash to them for something that's worth nothing secretly. Others think it's so advanced they never understand it, intimidated by the complexity of it all. And people, see 12-year-olds make thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars and more and want to know how to do it themselves. You're probably waiting for me to tell you right now, like, if you invest today, the only regret you'll have is that you didn't buy more, or whatever, in one half of your brain, and then the other half's thinking about what you would do if you won the lottery, or if X, Y, or Z coin, or Bitcoin takes off to whatever price, Bitcoin is a lot of different things rolled into one, like banking, computer engineering, politics, infrastructure, and even more, Although infrastructure might seem like a stretch right now, hear me out. All these different things kind of combine to make something that a lot of people don't fully understand or comprehend. And I'd like to take the time to break it down from the start.
Let me break it down for you, Mark.
We're going to be summarizing Bitcoin's white paper, which, in my opinion, is the best place for anyone interested in cryptocurrency to start their journey. I mean, sure, you can be successful without ever looking at it once, but once you do, it starts to kind of demystify things a little. With Bitcoin being the first cryptocurrency and blockchain, understanding it from the ground up makes it easier for you to understand everything else that came after, leading up to Web3 and what we love and know today with altcoins, NFTs, DeFi, and the whole lot. So sit back for a minute. It'll save you a lot of time and energy and money and questions. Just take a deep breath, de-hype real quick before we dive in. Yo, real quick, I'm gonna get a good, real deep breath because that last one was sorry, though. What is Bitcoin and why is it so important? Realistically, Bitcoin was created to solve several problems in the world, specifically involving online payments. Privacy, self-ownership, and decentralization are also key factors at play. We just aren't planning on getting to those just yet. Despite common belief, Bitcoin is not some crazy scam. It isn't a scheme to steal all your money. Bitcoin was created as a solution for the people rather than for big banks and corporations, hoping to make big banks and corporations obsolete even. We pretty much all know by now Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, but the Satoshi rabbit hole gets its own video later. For now, let's talk about why Bitcoin was created. There are many issues with the infrastructure surrounding online payments. Banks fail regularly and have to be bailed out due to the way they operate. And if we're being fully honest, between growing population, scammers, double spending, the constant printing of more money, and the way loans in centralized banks work, and the top 1% holding on to somewhere around 80 to 90% of all the money and assets available, and every other nation on the planet exhausted to death of the petrodollar and the over-centralized world we live in, we're headed for complete collapse. So, we'll go into that further in the deep dives, but for now I don't want to get too caught up. Honestly, if you guys want to know more about what I'm talking about with all this, I suggest you check out this video right here, because I think we should really be playing this video every morning in school instead of the Pledge of Allegiance until we're at a better point in our country. And it really wouldn't hurt you to watch this other one by 5 Minute Finance. Again, we're going to be talking about the white paper, and there will be a link or a copy of the Bitcoin white paper for you to download and read for yourself. You can also go to bitcoin.org and download the same exact file there from the source rather than from me and my YouTube channel. Again, I want to make note that this is one of, if not probably the best place, in my opinion, for any given person to start their crypto journey. We're going to try to keep it digestible, but the goal is to kind of summarize what's happening on each of these pages. The first page of the white paper pretty famously names Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system and explains its goal of creating a way for any given individual to make payments to one another in a safe, private way without any need for a bank, regulatory agency, or any other unnecessary third party. This page also goes into how unstable markets can be due to reversals, buybacks, and most importantly, double spending, as well as what it does different from the typical payment networks you're familiar with. Visa Payment Network would be a good example that any given person should be familiar with. The white paper also stresses the need for trust, or in other words, security, and the flaws with the current trust-based model. Then on the second page, it goes into detail about what could be implemented instead. It also explains that in order to create a trusted network without a centralized body, transactions need to be public. All the anonymous nodes in the network need to agree which transactions were received first, as well as whether or not those transactions are actually valid. The way consensus is explained over trust here really makes the current trust-based model seem counterintuitive. The third page talks about the difference between going the route of centralization versus the route of decentralization. This page contains the chronological order in which blocks are created, verified, and added to the blockchain. Subsequently, The incentive for doing so can be found on our fourth page. It's mentioned there that if someone even could manage to come up with enough computational power to attempt to take over the network, he may as well just mine for the reward anyway. Defrauding the network and or its users really isn't worth it, nor should it be. By issuing new coins this way, there's no need for a centralized mint. We don't necessarily need to worry about the storage space part, but it is very fascinating to learn how small these transactions actually are. I don't really want to get off in the weeds there either, because I'll be doing videos dissecting each page of the white paper and breaking down some of the more technical terms in each one. Most importantly, I'd like to get into some of the implications that this kind of technology has and could have in our day-to-day lives, and thoroughly discuss real-world examples of what we're talking about. The fifth page regards tracking your exact transaction. Nowadays, block explorers are a dime a dozen, but that's something I also plan to cover pretty soon. With any given transaction on chain, you're basically given a tracking number which you can punch into your preferred block explorer to see what block your transaction was in and others within that same block. Currently, each block adds 3.125 Bitcoin to the supply. Prior to the halving in May, this number was 6.25 Bitcoin. Either way, when a new block is added, you could publicly see how many of those 3.125 Bitcoin went to what wallets. Everyone in the network has verified that the list of transactions they confirmed are the same. Mining Bitcoin is a fascinating process, and I can't wait to do the deep dive there. The sixth page talks more in depth about privacy and how to link a wallet to someone. And once your wallet is public and well known, anyone can associate that wallet with you. Some people choose to make their wallets public, some people remain fully private with their wallets, but if you have someone's public wallet, you can check on it at any time. We even have wallet trackers nowadays. We have plenty of apps that'll do that. If you're ever curious, just go find a project that has their address viewable, or try this out with one of the pinned donation wallets even. You can copy and paste those wallets in your tracker and watch the live balance of them anytime, as well as a list of transactions in and out. As of now, there isn't really anything in any of them, but still, you can totally take our donation wallet addresses and plug them in to see how much, sits in it, if anyone has sent anything to it, if I've pulled the money out of it, all that's viewable. It wraps up by showing some equations to determine probability of an attack being successful, and run some testing to show what we now know as the Nakamoto coefficient. In its conclusion, it is reiterated that Bitcoin has created something so simple and sound that it makes you wonder why nobody did it sooner. The way Bitcoin operates under the hood is not some scary, complex madness that nobody can understand. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Computers compete to add new blocks to the chain for a reward. This introduces new Bitcoin, constantly refilling the mine. This process will not go on indefinitely. Instead, given the halving rate, the last block is set to be mined in 2140. So why is all of this so important? We could go on and on about implications, and there's tons of different theories as to why Bitcoin was created. I'd also like to add that the mystery of who is Satoshi Nakamoto is just as interesting and deep of a rabbit hole. There's a ton of speculation, but from what we see in the white paper, Satoshi has set forth something that could completely replace the global banking system as we know it. Conversely, would that be so bad? Think about a world where there's no need for a bank, taxes, or permissions to send and move your own money. Therefore, it would be a world without constant surveillance and know your consumer laws requiring all your most sensitive data be punched in constantly everywhere you go. Nobody's in control of your money but you. When explaining why Bitcoin would be preferred over the centralized system we currently use, I often refer to apples. So picture yourself standing with your neighbor discussing an exchange. He notices you have bags of apples and he'd like one for his family. You ask him for $5. You could go the route of cash, sure, but say your neighbor never carries cash for his own safety. He's one of those guys. We won't go into where the dollars come from for now, but at this point you may say, well, you could just send me the money. You can send money from one account to another, oftentimes for a fee, or alternatively, you might use another money transmitting service like an app, Cash App, for example. Sometimes, however, the bank might not trust the app you're sending through and bar your account until it's verified that you intended the purchase. Let's say you do this consistently, once or twice a week. At some point, the government will send you a letter saying, hey, we noticed you're profiting from the sale of apples. So for every apple you sell, you're now going to have to give us 2 of the $5 you just made. If not, you're going to be arrested for tax evasion. So in this situation, the banks, the government, the apps that you use, any related third parties and or advertisers have all your personal sensitive data. This includes your full legal name, address, phone number, birthday, social security number, and oftentimes your bank details like credit cards and account information. They build profiles based on you and your browsing and spending data, which they sell back and forth to one another to figure out the best ways to get you to give up more and more money to them and their friends or partner companies. Yet somehow, after all your information has been ping-ponged around 150 people and companies, that somehow it's miraculously ended up in the hands of scammers, and there's nothing your bank can do to help you because fuck you. And God forbid you see this system for what it is and don't want to be a part of it or try to educate others around you about what it really is, because then you're crazy, a criminal, or a conspiracy theorist. It's a full-on smear campaign against you for trying to correct the system or give any feedback or criticism whatsoever. They really, really don't like dissenters. Everything you see is an attempt to get your money so that they can lobby the government into making this process further enforced by law. So again, let's look at the same situation in a more decentralized light. Your neighbor says, hey, I don't carry cash on me, but could I send you $5 worth of Bitcoin for a bag of these apples? He can copy and paste your wallet or scan your wallet QR code, verify that he wants to send it, and boom, it's in your wallet. Nobody would ever know the difference unless you personally just leave your wallet address available for anyone to check. No taxes, no third parties holding your money for you, no advertisers surveilling you and blowing up your phone with ads for apples and peelers and other Apple accessories. Or God forbid, we've noticed you're buying a lot of apples lately. How about a coupon for oranges instead? Just you and your neighbor exchanging Bitcoin for apples. Understanding this is understanding the fundamentals of what a Bitcoin is, what a blockchain is, and why cryptocurrency was created in the first place. This is the pioneer blockchain, coin, and father of all cryptocurrency. This is Bitcoin. Stay tuned and feel free to ask me any questions. Alright, real quick before we go, I do want to apologize. I know everybody's been begging for me to put this video out, and given the whole TikTok ban and CapCut ban, it's been kind of back and forth, and productivity's kind of been back and forth. I almost thought for a second that I was going to have to relearn how to use YouTube Studio instead of CapCut for all my video editing. So, now that CapCut is not banned, I'd like to reiterate that this is just one part of a small mini-series, I guess. I'm going to be doing 7 more videos attached to this, where I'm going to be basically word for word reading the white paper and explaining each page and giving examples of each page. So comment below if you have any type of questions. There's all types of links on the YouTube homepage for merch and other ways to support our channel. Shout out to all those people who support our channel in those ways, of course. my channel. I don't know who our is. I just be referring to myself in third person sometimes, you know. Like, that's cool. But yeah, no. I'm gonna get to work on dissecting the first page, and pretty soon by the end of it, I'm gonna do one big omnibus video, kind of like my own documentary. Like I joked about it earlier, but I essentially have been working on my own version of Money Electric. So I'm gonna finish mine. I'll watch that one. I'll let you guys know what I think, and you can expect to see the exact same thing for exchanges, NFT platforms. I'll be doing things like deep dives on coins and blockchains and where they came from and why they're important. There will be plenty more to look forward to. Just like and subscribe. You know the deal. I'm not gonna put a gun to your head or anything. Y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy, and I'll catch you in a few more days.